I'm not even fucking shitting you. If I had actually sent that before I realized that this was the work group chat, I would have texted, this is my 2-day notice. Good luck. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me for the next 2 days. Like, tap out. Okay, it's episode 22. I'm feeling 22. I'm probably gonna like insert something along the Taylor Swift lines into the title of episode 22. I'm feeling 22. It's like the song that you play when you turn 22. It's the song that I'm gonna reference when I'm releasing episode 22 because I am currently living in a Taylor Swift world. And like it's her world. I'm just living in it right now. Anyway. The story time for episode 22 is called 39 Strawberries, which I feel like is a very good hook for y'all, because what the fuck could I possibly be talking about? What could I have possibly done this time? I'll tell you. So me and my coworkers are hanging out. Two that I'm like really close friends with. They know fucking everything about me. They know everything about my friends. They know everything about people that I've dated in the last 2.5 years since I've known them. I trust them with every story ever. So we're chatting one day when it's a little bit on the quiet side of work. And we start talking about like body count, as in how many people have you slept with, body count. And so friend 1 says 1, friend 2 says 2. And I go, I'm going to make a list. And I'll get back to you on this one. So I make the list, writing down all the shit that I can remember, all the people that I've been with, and got to, I think, like 35 on the list. And then said, I think mine's 35. And then I would be mid doing something throughout the day and just be like, oh, 36, forgot about that one, forgot about that situation, forgot about that. And time would go on again. And then I was like, oh, 37, forgot about this. And then after work, I walked out, went to the parking lot, sat in my car and went, oh, fuck. And then texted one of my coworkers' friends, Abby, and said 39. And then I started to type, because we went from 37 to 39, if you didn't catch that. I started to type, I forgot about this one threesome. And right before I sent it, I looked at the chat above, and it had one of my doctor's messages in it, and I was like, that's not Abby. That's not her. That's not the chat that I was expecting to see. And I'm like, this is the work fucking group chat. And I just sent the number 39, and I was 0.5 seconds away from sending, I forgot about this threesome. I'm not even fucking shitting you. If I had actually sent that before I realized that this was the work group chat, I would have texted, this is my 2-day notice. Good luck. Don't look at me. Don't talk to me for the next 2 days. Like, tap out. Yeah, so I sent that number, and then 2 people immediately read it. The nurse that I work with, and said, or reacted, question mark, and then the other office assistant said confusion, question mark, and I just said wrong person, and I didn't explain because I didn't know how to explain, so I just didn't say anything. I just said wrong person and then moved on with life. Yeah, after doing that, I texted Abby obviously immediately and said, I didn't know, I just sent that to the work group chat. And she went to go and look, she hadn't seen it yet, and then we ended up in traffic together, rolling our windows down. And she's like dying laughing, and I'm like, I currently don't like my life. Like, it's really funny, don't get me wrong, but like this, what if somebody asks me on Monday? I can't fucking lie. If anybody tries to ask me a question and I'm trying to lie, you can tell, you can see it all over my face. And even if miraculously, that word, I manage to tell the fucking lie with like a straight face, you're gonna see my ears go bright red, like fire bright red, because I blush in my ears. So like they go bright red when I'm flustered, which would happen if I told a lie. So can't fucking lie. So I'm like, what if somebody asks me what that meant? And I was hanging out with somebody that I was seeing at the time and told them the story and said, this is how I embarrassed myself today. How are you? And like a couple of hours later, unprompted, he went, 39 strawberries. And I was like, huh? What are you talking about? And he goes, that's how many strawberries you can eat in a sitting, 39 strawberries. And I was like, fucking well done. That's genius. I love that. That is, like, nobody would really go past the question of that. They would just be like, that's weird, move on. Like, beautiful. Also, love the fact that there was no judgment and he was trying to help me, like, you know, defer what it actually was to something else instead of just being like, anyway. So that's why the story time is called 39 Strawberries. And, yeah, I double check any work message or WhatsApp message that I send now because that's where my coworkers' contacts and my work contacts are. Anyway, topic for today's episode is having kids and my thought processes around having kids and how I feel like it would affect my life. And, I'm just speaking for me. I know that other people have kids and find them to be a blessing, but I feel like I would shit myself, and I just don't know if I could handle that. Like, I'm sitting here, like, face in my hands, actually, while I talk, thinking about it. Like, I'm just like, I don't think that is something that I could handle or tolerate right now. So I'm just going to speak for myself and how I feel about having kids and how I feel pressured by society and or friends and or family, partners, etc. about having kids. So my queen of a roommate gave me her vape after she bought a new one because it was getting low, and I was like, sure, I was quitting smoking 2 months ago, but like, yeah, 10 out of 10 I'll take that because I've already bought a pack of cigarettes recently, and it was supposed to just be a treat cigarette that I have at the end of the day after I'm done work. But then I was like, oh, maybe I'll just have one like in the morning, like right before I shower. And then I was like, oh, maybe I'll just have one in the car. And now I smoke again. So anyway, hits vape again. Cigarettes and a vape may as well double up after trying to quit. Like, fucking go hard or go home, I guess. So, topic, having kids. So, obviously there's a pretty big expectation for women to have children. Like, if you're not a woman who is able to have children, then you may not realize how much of a pressure there is around it. And I feel like my personal biggest pressure, like, kind of from society, but mostly from, like, my partners. And it's usually that they expect me to carry the child. Like, I've been in a lesbian relationship and a straight relationship, and both people really wanted kids, whereas I was a lot more hesitant. And they both expected me to carry the child as well. So, and there's other ways, you know, it's 2026. There's other shit that you can do. You can adopt, you can do IVF, you can do, like, there's so many different ways. And I know that IVF is like, you're still carrying the child, but I don't like the assumption, especially in the, like, lesbian relationship that I had, especially because I wasn't the one who truly wanted them. Like, you can be a mask and carry a child, grow up, you'll be fine. For the heterosexual people, mask is like a masculine presenting lesbian. And I was the femme lesbian in that relationship. Not that you can have, like, mask on mask and femme on femme, but, like, in that situation. Anyway, it was assumed that I would carry the child because femme in that relationship. So, also nearly every person I've dated has wanted kids. And in both, I'm like, I feel like people don't think about it enough, like what you're actually asking somebody to do. And I've only encountered one other person who expressed that they didn't want children, like, pretty quickly, and it was such a huge relief, because seeing someone who doesn't expect that from you kind of takes a really big, time-sensitive weight off of your shoulders. Because, you know, biological clock or whatever. And I'm not 100% opposed to having kids either. I just know that at this time it's not something that I'm longing for at all. But also in 5 to 10 years, who knows what kind of life I'll be living. Like, there's so many evolutions that can happen in that time. I don't know who I'll be by then. I don't know where I'll be, who the people I love are, and the losses that I've had or the jobs or responsibilities I'll have. You can't fucking know. So, like, pretty cliche, but you could get hit by a bus tomorrow, you know? Your partner could leave. Hopefully not, but it happens. like 40 to 50% of the time, so like odds aren't great for us. You could be doing so well and own a company, but then unexpectedly have to declare bankruptcy because of something economic that happened or some sort. There's so much that could happen. You can't possibly know what you will want as your future self because you don't know who your future self is. So, like, are you the same person that you were 2 years ago? Think about it for a second. 5 years ago? I'm not close-minded enough to think that I will not want kids for the rest of my life, or I'll feel this way for the rest of my life. I've also only completed 33% of life anyway, hopefully. And on top of the conflict with your own emotions and thoughts around being a parent, it's really difficult to have somebody want that from you, especially when you're not 100% certain. And I know that pregnancy and having kids is talked about a fair bit, but I don't think many people truly think about what growing and carrying and birthing a fucking child takes. Like, it's so expected and common that we just like bypass how wildly intense the experience is with so many high highs and low lows. Your body actually releases so much oxytocin that it takes away from the memory of having a child. Like, a lot of women will say, I don't even really remember like the experience of birthing a child, because your body's like, just pump out the oxytocin, so that's what they're fucking focused on, so that they don't remember how traumatic this was, so that they have more. That's what I feel like evolution did. Not a science podcast, don't quote me, but that's how I feel about it. And it affects you emotionally, it affects you physically, your body changes, and it won't ever quite be the same, which isn't necessarily good or bad, but it's still an adjustment, which is an adjustment that you need to experience like within a year. And like, think of the last time that you were sick or had fever or had chills, or your nose wouldn't stop running, or you couldn't breathe through your fucking nose, or you had a really bad flu, or like you had a really bad hangover. Now, imagine that for months. Being pregnant, you can be sick for months. You know how like you're just sick for like a couple of days and you hate your fucking life? I feel like I would be a full-blown cunt if I was pregnant like that. Like, some women I feel like can handle it really well. I'm not one of those people. I already know I'm not one of those people. If I have a headache, if I have my period, my coworkers know. I'm like, I have a headache, my head hurts all day. If I have my period, at my coworkers, my uterus hurts all day. We'll complain about it. Just now, if I was pregnant, I'd be like, my ankles are swollen, I have to pee all the time, I can't fucking sleep on my side or on my stomach. Like, the list would just be endless, and I would just be a full-blown, like, very unpleasant person to be around throughout the entire 9 to 10 months, however the fuck long that takes. And you can feel like you're not in control over your emotions. Like, your hormones just fucking take over and say, you're this person now instead. Actually, remember how you're like fun and cool and chill and like good vibes? Now you're just going to be a fucking complete cunt because they breathed wrong. And I've never been with child, I should say, but I believe that I have PMDD, which, like, haha, self-diagnosing. So I imagine it's like really similar, just intensified as fuck, to the level where you feel like you're not the same person. And then it's time to push it out. And I recently listened to someone's birth story via podcast, which was actually, I feel like, a very good scenario in terms of how pregnancies can go, or how birth stories can go. And I listened to her birth story via podcast, which ironically gave me a temporary baby fever, which is weird because, like, it's the birth story, which usually isn't all that pretty, but I had a little baby fever from it somehow, some way. Anyway, she said that she was making animalistic noises that she's never made before. And this queen is the most fucking chilled, strong, badass woman that I've ever had the experience of having a parasocial relationship with. And she also said that she got to a point where she said aloud while giving birth, I can't do this anymore. I don't think I can do this anymore. And her midwife goes, you're so close. That's how everybody feels. Like, that's like one of the steps to get to the birth of the child. Pause. Back up. That's how everybody feels. That's a step in the process. Like, she's hanging onto her husband's arms for dear life in a bath, just defeated. And the midwife's like, yeah, that's how it goes. That's what's supposed to happen. I don't care if you're a woman, a man, a non-binary person, whoever you are. Picture this happening to you, having this experience. Especially if you want kids, picture and feel this experience as best you can. Like, as best you can manage while listening to this. And all of this pain that you are just, hours have gone by, your body is depleted, you've gone through the most pain that your body can possibly handle before it fucking starts passing out, basically. And to add another layer, imagine it happening to you if you aren't sure you wanted to be a parent. But that's what you're supposed to do. You are supposed to get married, and you're supposed to have a kid, and you're supposed to have a home and a white picket fence, and everyone around is saying, yes, good job, that's the next, in quotations, level of life. So you had kids, and not necessarily because you had the urge to be a mother, but because you loved your partner so much that you couldn't let them not be a mother or a father because they'd make such a good parent. So baby's here, and yes, you love this child to the moon and back, but you're lacking sleep, your body is recovering from literally the most painful thing you'll ever have to endure. You're breastfeeding, if you're breastfeeding, you have to get up throughout the night to feed the child, while the person who truly wanted this is fast asleep. And do you see how this is such like a mental and physical struggle or even battle for one person, and for the other person it's just like a want? Like, it's just like, I really want this in my life. And it's like, it's not just your want, it's like somebody else's mental and physical struggle and battle through going from not being a mother to being a mother. And it's really important, and it's really amazing that, like, you want that life, but all you're doing is wanting it. And that's where I think that people who want kids, or who expect their female partner to carry said kids, don't fully think through what they're actually asking them to do. Like, if I ever got pregnant and had a child, I'd either be using formula or pumping and putting the milk in the fridge so that when the baby cries in the middle of the night, you're up. My partner, you are up. I grew that. I went through so many emotions and hemorrhoids for that. I had gestational diabetes, and then I pushed a fucking large cantaloupe out of my vagina, and I either had surgery or that split my hole open. So I'm sleeping. You're grabbing my pre-pumped milk from the fridge and feeding the child that you were pretty much 100% on board for having, and I was 75% sure or less. So for 9 months, you are up. I'm sleeping. Feed screaming child. In 9 months from now, we can rediscuss, because then it feels slightly more even. And like I said, I may want kids or a kid in a few years. Who knows? But even if I desperately wanted a child, I would still be saying to my partner, you're doing at least 50-50 as long as it's in your capabilities. Like, I refuse to be the default parent. Because men with children tend to be better respected and have more opportunities career-wise, especially because they're a reliable man and a father who is supporting his family, while women who are pregnant or having children have less opportunities career-wise because they're considered to be the, in quotations, default parent who's more expected to stay at home with the kids if they're sick, or if you can't afford childcare, or if you want your children to grow up and have a parent present as they're growing up, they're going to be out of the workforce, and it's obviously much more expected to assume that the mom will be a stay-at-home mom and be available. And I just feel like people need to think about the physical changes we'll go through, the emotions, the pain we'll endure, the lack of sleep, the full-on identity fucking change into motherhood. It's all so much. And you can take years off of your experience in the workforce and just be maintaining the house and being with the children. And if you try to go back into the workforce later on when your kids are grown up, they're like, oh, there's this really big gap in your resume where you weren't working. So you're more than likely going to be making a lot less than what you would have been if you were in the workforce, like your partner likely was. And the expectations around becoming a parent are so much more than we can really wrap our heads around for both parties. And I'm just a bit tired of anticipating all of these scenarios and hearing somebody say, but I'd be such a good mom. Or, I think I'd be a really good dad. Like, yeah, you would be. Like, of course you would be. Like, you're an amazing human. Of course you'd be a good parent. Like, I really want that for you too. And of course your life would also be rapidly changing and you'll have adjustments as well. But it's even more intense for the woman carrying the child. And I think people need to be a lot more conscious about what they're entering into or what they're asking somebody for. And for lack of a better term, I've sort of felt like this heartless villain when I say that I don't want kids. Or I'm unsure about wanting kids. When a lot of the time, if that's the feeling that I have around having kids, if I am seeing somebody, it's because I'm just so fucking fond of the person that I just don't feel the desire to share that time or that love with anyone else or with something that doesn't even fucking exist yet. And I don't want to give that up. Like I've felt that before. It's like, oh, I want to get married and have kids. And then I'm going, but I want to spend time with you. Like, I don't want this crying, pooping thing in the corner that we're like, who wants to feed it? Like, I just don't. And I know that you're going to love it and it's going to be our whole life. And I'm fucking obsessed with it because I pushed it out and had oxytocin chemicals coming out after I pushed it out or whatever. Like, I'll be super connected to this little bundle of joy, whatever they call them. And I know that would happen to me. And I think that I would fall in love with it. And I think that I would put my whole fucking life aside for it because I would love it that much. And I just don't know if I want to do that right now or in the future because I think that it would take up my whole life. And I think that it's very, very difficult for it to not take up your whole life. And I think that if you're a woman especially, it's more expected for it to take up your whole life because oftentimes you'll see people like applauding men for changing a diaper or for bringing them to a doctor's appointment or taking the kids for a weekend while your partner goes to fucking Mexico with her girlies or something. And it's like, you're the other parent. Like, that shouldn't be that big of a deal. Like, you shouldn't be fucking applauded for that. That is your job and then some. I'm not applauding anybody when I have a kid if they're feeding the child. I'm like, you fucking partially made it. Like, the expectation over here on me, I don't accept it. I don't claim this. This is also a you problem. At least 50, probably 60% if I'm going to be in a relationship with somebody with a kid because I just want to push back against the fucking expectations that people have. And also I don't necessarily want it. And I haven't really felt the urge to have a child. I've maybe felt it intermittently in the last 10 years, like a handful of times, but it was, like I said earlier, a temporary feeling. So yeah, I just really wanted to chat about how I feel about that whole topic of conversation and how I feel not heard at all, really. And that's not necessarily my partner's fault because it's not a lot of things that I've voiced or really talked about or really gone into a lot of detail. Like, I've definitely said that I don't see stay-at-home mom as my future, but like I haven't gone into depth about how you're losing hours or experience in the workforce or how you're giving up a lot of your time and your sleep and how you're emotionally and physically changing while you're growing a human inside of you and having to push it out and the trauma that would cause. Like, just the pain would cause some level of trauma. And like I said, I think that I would be a miserable bitch the entire time. I don't think I would be glowing. It doesn't sound like a fun time to me. Yeah, thanks for coming to my TED Talk about having kids and the expectation to have kids and whether or not I want kids and send help. SOS, not sure where I'm at with this. Especially because I don't love anybody right now. I feel like it might make more sense if I did, because I'd either be like, oh, we both feel the same vibe and don't necessarily want children, or it would be like I love them and they want it, but I don't know if I necessarily want it, and I'm like in a mental conflict of what do I do, because I feel like I should really want kids if I am going to have them. Like, I saw a comment, and who fucking knows nowadays, it could have been AI, but I saw a comment on a post that said, do not have kids unless you want them with every single fiber of your being, because it's the hardest thing you'll ever do. And that does not leave my brain. That sentence doesn't leave my brain, because I also feel like I would be doing a disservice to the unborn child if I was not fully prepared to have and take care of it and love it and just be 100% on board. While I also think it's okay to not be 100% on board, because are you really ready for anything that ever happens in life? No, but you know, I have a guilt in me if I decided to get pregnant with someone and I wasn't 100% on board. I don't know what to do with that guilt. I don't know how to feel about it. I'm still in the process of figuring that part of my life and whether or not I may or may not want it. And yeah, that's my rant about having kids, and that's my chat. Those are my thoughts. Those are my speak for me beliefs, whatnot. She's not good at outros. Okay, bye.